Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and thanks so much for tuning in to what is going to be a review of the brand new Dominique Cosmetics Beautiful Mess Liquid Eyeshadows. If you know me, well, if you don't, hi, I'm Bailey. I love a good liquid eyeshadow because if they're done right, they tend to be really easy one and done sort of shades that they oftentimes, if they're shimmery, multichromatic, they create a multi-dimensional look on the lid that lasts all day if they dry down to a powdery finish. Long story short, these I've just find liquid shadows can be like the most mess-free, fastest product you can have in your collection, or one of them anyway, and so I had to give these a try. So I got all the shades in this collection, and so I not only want to swatch them, but also share my thoughts on them with you here today. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so for starters, there are 6 shades in this collection. I have no idea if she plans on expanding this in the future, but for now, there are 6. There are 2 multichromatic shades, Electric Soul and Pretty Wild. By multichromatic, I mean they have more than just 1 or even 2 tones. They're not duochromatic. They have like 3, 4, maybe 5 depending on the angle you look at and the kind of lighting you have. I don't even know. They're very complex and incredibly beautiful shades. Then there's a shade called Cold Heart. It has a blue metallic base with a gold shift to it. This is something that I'd call maybe a duochrome, but maybe just like a beautiful glittery sort of shade, because I can see the gold shimmer is distinct from the blue base and not in a duochromatic sort of shifty way, if that makes sense. Next up is VIBEY VIXEN. This is a vibrant purple metallic shadow, absolutely gorgeous and very bold and pigmented. Then there is DAYDREAMER, which is a classic mid-tone bronze metallic shade, brownie bronze metallic shade. And then there is Shy Girl, the only matte shade in this collection, and it is a light, medium, muted mauve shade. Individually, these are $20 and you get 0.28 ounces, and I wanted to look specifically at how much product they contained because Natasha Denona actually just came out with some similar chromatic eyeshadows, similar anyway to at least the multi-chromes in here, Electric Soul and Pretty Wild. I bought those, by the way. For those of you who shared those posts with me on Instagram, knowing that I love a good multi-chrome and wanting to see a review, those are on their way to me right now. But I bring up the size or product amount comparison because despite being $8 cheaper, the Dominique Cosmetics are, Natasha Denona's are $28 individually, you get more than double the product in the Dominique Cosmetics tubes. So unfortunately, I'll do a comparison when I get those Natasha Denona. I'll make it a point to compare the two, but just for a size reference, $20 might seem like a lot, but for the amount of product you get and compared to other brands, especially luxury brands, you are actually getting a considerable amount of product in these things. Now, these are liquid, right? I mean, of course, it's in the name, but what I think is a real good measure of whether or not a liquid shadow is good or not is whether they dry down to a true powder finish, like totally dry down to be transfer proof, which then makes them more likely to become not just transfer proof, but budge proof and flake proof and fade proof and crease proof and all the good things that you need your eyeshadow to be, right? So here I have on my arm, I've actually given it a good few rubs, but you can see that they stay in place relatively well. Most of it holds on pretty steadfast. You can definitely see some of the top layers, like especially for the shimmery shadows, those are coming away. But you can also see, if you look up close, and I'll show you a close-up here, that if you layer these on too thick, they do flake away a little bit. Even the matte shadows, which I tend to find matte shadows do this a little bit less than something with chunks in it, like a glitter or a shimmer or something like that. But even the matte shadow here does tend to like flake away as you sort of rub it. Granted, I am aggressively rubbing these in a way that unless you have like severe allergies or just real itchy eyes, I can't imagine your eyes are going to see that level of wear and action throughout the day. But if they should, you know this is how they're going to last. Actually, on the eyes, I can say that these really last beautifully. Unless I do layer like the metallics up a whole lot, then I notice a little bit of flaking, especially with the multi-chromes that can be a little bit sheer depending on what you layer them over, how you layer them. They can be sheer and almost streaky looking at some angles depending on how the light's hitting them. And so my first instinct was to start really layering them up. But when you do that, it does make them more prone to flaking. So in learning how to work with this texture, what I found works best for me is I apply it directly to my eyelid, but then before I layer it up too much, I go in with a brush. This is my Esom G29 brush, so it's fluffy, it's dense, but it's still fluffy enough to really be able to buff that pigment out to make sure that it's getting evenly distributed across the eyelid, blend it out everywhere where I want it to be. Then, if I still find that I have a little bit of uneven pigmentation, just needs a little bit of layering up elsewhere, I can selectively go in with that and then buff that right back in with another brush, as opposed to like my finger or just using the doe foot that comes with these guys. What else? Speaking of blendability, actually, these I think you'll be able to see in the demonstrations blend out really, really beautifully, especially the matte shadow. I mean, they all really do, metallic, multi-chrome, but especially the matte, and a lot of you guys even commented on this when I first used these in a recent chatty kind of let's use some new stuff sort of tutorial I uploaded. It was my first time using that matte shade, and it knocked my socks off with how beautifully it blended across my lid. I mean, really, that's all I think I have to talk about with these. It's a really beautiful formula. They blend nicely. They last until I need them to come off. There's a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to application and making sure you don't layer them on too thick, but once you master it, and it didn't take long to do, they're pretty foolproof. I mean, you apply them, you can apply, especially with the multi-chromatic shades, they're one and done sort of shadows. You swipe them across your lid, you blend them out, and it looks like you're wearing, you know, 2, 3, however many shades on your eyelid, but you really just only had to take the time to apply one of these. And the same is true for the other, like even the metallic shades. Those definitely give your eyes some depth as well, worn alone, but they're an amazing product. I don't know what else to say. They're really nice. I'm glad I got them. I hope she comes out with more shades in this collection because it's definitely a liquid shadow formula done right. Let me know if I forgot any details. I feel like this is a really short review because I kind of have nothing but good things to say about these. Ask me down in the comments below. And besides that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.